when we are focusing on our breath as an object of awareness, there are a few ways to focus on the breath. Okay? As I have mentioned in several different videos, the idea is to maintain a balance of focus and alertness and knowing, as well as relaxation and letting go. So it's a relaxed kind of a focus. Okay? We are not really holding the breath through our focus so tightly. At the same time, it's not like our focus is scattered. So we bring all our attention to our breath in a certain way and we focus on it. Now, how do we begin this practice? What do we notice? To start with, we simply notice the inhalation and exhalation. You can follow the entire breath to start with. So that's one way of doing your breathing meditation, which is you notice your inhale as it moves from your nostril deep into your body. You follow it right through and then notice where the exhale begins and you follow it right through until it is out of your nostrils. This is known as following the breath. This is a good way to begin because this gives you a lot of space to focus on the breath, in the sense you are moving with the breath, so it's easier to keep your attention on the breath. Once you are a little more settled in this practice, maybe you can start noticing just the area of the belly. Now, in another video I have shown you, you will see the link in the description about diaphragmatic breathing. Diaphragmatic breathing is an active, modified breathing practice. In meditation, we do not modify our breathing, we just watch our breathing. So we do diaphragmatic breathing practice before we start our meditation. But when we are meditating, we are simply observing the breath coming in and going out. Mindfulness just means knowing. It does not mean modifying. So in the second way, we are just knowing the breath filling the belly and emptying. So when the breath fills us, the belly rises and we notice the movement. And when you exhale, the belly comes back, it gets released, it contracts, and you notice the movement. So all that you are doing in this way of focusing on the breath is keeping your entire attention on the area of the upper abdomen, on the belly, and noticing its movement. The third way of noticing your breath is noticing it in your nostrils. Now again, I would suggest you come to the nostrils after a few days of regular practice, because each step sometimes can be more subtle than the previous step. The breath is a little more difficult maybe to notice in the nostrils for some people than it is in the abdomen area. So as you have done your practice for a few days, you can start noticing the breath in the nostrils. So how do you notice the breath in the nostrils? You simply keep your attention focused in the nostril area and you notice the touch of the air as it moves in during an inhalation and the touch of the air as it moves out during exhalation. So where in the nostril is the air making contact with you? That is what you notice. Sometimes you can even notice that the air going in is cool. So maybe you recognize there's cool air entering the nostrils and there's warm air exiting the nostrils. But unlike in the previous one where you follow the breath through, here you don't follow the breath. You stay with your entire focus in the nostrils and you just notice the movement of breath in the nostrils. This is one way of noticing the breath in the nostrils. And finally, when you have meditated at least, like I said, for a month, more or less regularly, or even maybe 20 days, and you are able to stay with at least 5 to 6 breaths without getting distracted, then you start noticing the area between the nostrils. So you notice the breath moving on your upper lips. As you breathe out, you notice the air moving on the upper lips. As you breathe in, you notice the air moving on the upper lips. Now, if you notice what we are doing is, we are narrowing the area of focus. Ultimately, in the long run, the idea is to get your attention more focused. It's not necessary to do it in the start, eventually, but we narrow the area of focus. This is specially recommended by a lot of meditation teachers, but also by Maharishi Patanjali from the yoga school of meditation. Because he says, Desa Bandha Chittasya Dharna, which means dharna is about binding your mind to a spot. So the narrower the focus, the more sharper the concentration eventually, and the deeper the ability to have insight about what is going on. So we are just simply narrowing the focus, but like I said, don't get hung up on this or that way of meditating. All ways are genuine. Apart from these ways, I know of people who have been taught to focus on their chakras, on the energy centers. I have heard of teachers teaching people to focus on the eyebrow center. I have heard of teachers teaching people to focus on energy movement in the spine and meditate. If you have been taught some other way and that works for you, please follow that way, because there is no one way. The destination is one. There are many techniques, many paths, and it's not helpful to get hung up on this is the ideal way or that is the ideal way. The idea is to take what works and do it and sit with it and deepen your awareness and focus. So this is just, I'm sharing with you what works for me, what I have learned, what has been helpful for me, but please feel free to do what works for you.